He just walked up, we stabbed him. All I want to say is that I love him and I wish he was here.
It's something no 12-year-old should ever have to live through, let alone witness. Losing a big brother, a mere 16-year-old, to a brutal murder.
And now, more than 2 decades later, he is still fighting to keep his brother's killer behind bars. And tonight, he opens up to News 5 investigator Scott Knoll.
For Christopher Fisher,
I haven't been over here for 10 years.
a trip to his old neighborhood, a walk down the streets,
Just being here, like, it just takes you all the way back in time.
brings the memories flooding back.
I'm 12. Like, I don't know the first thing about fighting or getting into trouble or like anything like that.
The tiny white cross near the intersection of West 17th and Rowley, a reminder of the day that all changed.
The last words he said to me were, "I'm okay." But he was not okay.
Fisher was just 12 years old September 7th, 2001, the day he watched his big brother, Randall Ullery, die.
I put myself in his mind all the time of like what he went through. That'll mess you up. That'll mess you up for sure.
Ullery was 16 years old, loved to run track, the kind of kid others gravitated to, says his brother. It's what makes what happened so tough to understand, even decades later.
I had no idea that murdering somebody was even possible at 12 years old. That's how sheltered I was as a young kid.
Fisher says it started when this guy, a then 17-year-old Jose Rivera, punched his brother as he rode his bike. Rivera then stabbed Ullery in the chest with a kitchen knife, chased him down the street, then beat him with a board. As Ullery collapsed, Fisher says he watched his brother's killer turn and walk away.
I remember that look in his eye. It was like he felt accomplished. He felt tough. He felt untouchable.
He wasn't. Rivera was arrested, charged with murder, copped a plea. The teen sentenced to 15 years to life in prison.
He was in custody, and that was it. I thought I would never have to hear about him ever again.
What the 12-year-old Fisher didn't realize was Rivera would be eligible for parole. 5 years ago, he and his family fought successfully to keep Rivera behind bars. Then came the letter from the parole board earlier this year.
That was like a knife in my chest. To hear early parole. And for what?
Because he was under 18 when he killed Ullery, Rivera became one of 569 Ohio prison inmates affected by Senate Bill 256. The law provides a pathway to freedom for teens who were under 18 when they committed their crimes. Former state senator Peggy Lehner sponsored the bill. She told us last year it's about giving inmates hope.
If you're never going to walk out of the doors of a prison, if you're never going to have a chance to go back to school or get a job or raise a family or any of those things, there's not a whole lot of point in doing rehabilitation.
In Rivera's case, it means he's again eligible for parole this month.
There are people in prison that this law will probably help. And they will go on and be productive members of society. For my brother's killer, he doesn't deserve it.
A News 5 investigator's analysis of prison records shows since the law went into effect last year, 14 inmates who committed crimes as kids were paroled.
You can't help but think, like, am I gonna be part of that? Are we gonna be those people that are gonna be sitting here on our couch one day and watch him walk past our house?
In a 2017 letter to his judge, Rivera made a case for his release. He says he earned his GED in prison, that he's grown and matured and accepted responsibility for his actions. Writing, "I could not be sorrier for what happened. I tore apart a family left with only memories." This condolence sign shows the years of wear and tear.
This thing I hold dear to me. I don't know why.
Not just on this piece of poster board, but on their hearts.
I guess I just wanted to keep it with me because I felt like this was my way of holding on to him in some way.
Fisher, more determined than ever to do whatever it takes to keep his brother's killer behind bars.
He's not here. He doesn't get to speak up for himself. He doesn't get to go in front of the parole board. His voice was taken from him. He didn't get a choice. I have a choice. I have a choice to fight to keep him behind bars.
Scott Knoll with that report. Scott further tells us the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office also opposes parole for Rivera. In a letter to the parole board, an assistant prosecutor called the murder, quote, nothing less than senseless, and says releasing Rivera would create a risk to public safety.